I've had to do my whole career with a family, and now you notice people at the top level are having families, they're struggling, and I'm thinking it gives me a massive sense of self-worth to know that I've done it with them in tow. And like last one on Britain's Strongest Man, it was in front of 10,000 people and all my kids were there.
And in lane number 2, raise it up for Ryan, England!
And like to see their faces, my little boys like signing autographs with me and stuff, it was just magical, do you know what I mean? I'd happily have retired on that note had I made it to like World's Strongest Man. Like if I got the Worlds the year after, I'd done that and I'd have been down to sport. But obviously for me, I was 2 places off. I finished 7th, not 5th, so for me, like I said, there's unfinished business, but yeah. Life in Bristol was, I'd say, a bit unsettled at times, but always happy memories. I grew up with, obviously, my mum and dad from a young age. Then they kind of separated around 12, 13. So from then onwards, it got a lot more difficult because my dad wasn't always around all the time. I had a massive bearing on me now, funny enough, because I didn't want to be the same sort of person for my kids. I want to be there all the time for them. And so in a way, it was a good thing because it made their lives better. But for the time for me, I think growing up, I had to grow up pretty fast. So, and yeah, I wouldn't say I had a rough upbringing sort of thing in Bristol or where I was from, but it was just like full of happy times with mates playing football in the park and breaking my collarbone and just learning to be a boy as you do, do you know what I mean? Inspiration wise, I did like World's Strongest Man growing up, so I liked it, but I never obviously imagined I'd ever do it. Like Big Z and stuff like that and things like that, but outside of sport, I'll probably say like just for mental strength, probably my mum, because she went for a lot of stuff like when we were growing up, because my sister was like ill when we were kids and that, so she went for a lot of stuff, my mum, and to see her go through all that, see her go through all that to being who she is now is like proper role model, like make you head down, like every problem can be addressed and you can get over it as long as you figure out of it. That makes sense? Sorry, I don't know where I've gone from. So basically I'm a Part 2 HGV driver, so I drive the lorries, I'm the charge hand, so I'm in charge of everyone under my, in my work, basically, my little gang of people. So basically we do anything from tiny houses to big industrial estates. So yeah, we do very different work. And the thing is, like, I'm 150 kilos, but I still got to be expected to get out on the beams and do the same work what everyone else is. It's a good job, it's a hard job. It's obviously physical all day long, you don't stop and only for your breaks, do you know what I mean? So you're always walking, always doing something. So I always think it's helped me sort of with strongman a little bit for active recovery, but also when you want to come in and do some big lifting after you've been had a hard day at work, it's doubly hard then, do you know what I mean? Because I could have been doing like a 6-7 lift job, trying to pump kit up, do stuff, like it's just one of those jobs that's relentless and don't ever stop for nothing, do you know what I mean? Well, basically, I had my own scaffolding business, so I was driving around, pricing a job. Someone come around the corner in like a tyre van with like a big generator on the back, too fast, and just smashed straight into my van, like ripped the van off, all the wheel was underneath it. I was pinned into the van one side. I do still to this day could smell alcohol in his breath, but he passed the breathalyzer apparently, so that's neither here nor there, is it? But yeah, so, and then yeah, I just had back pain for a while. I went into physio for about 5 weeks. Bearing in mind, I had a young family, no way of earning money in my business. I couldn't even go out and scaffold myself, essentially. So I was paying people to go out and do my jobs for me, so the business wasn't making any money. So I ended up setting it all up just to survive. With a young family, it's the kind of things you got to do sometimes, take a backward step to move forwards. So then once I got the all clear from the physios and had to go, I started training. So I went up to, well, I messaged Bristol Strongers, went up there, and funny enough, the main couple of people weren't there, as a few of the others, and they were doing overhead. And they said, well, come up tomorrow. And I was like, all right. So, yeah, I went out there and I ended up doing like a 120 log, I think it was, which was quite big for someone like who had never done it before. And then I got home that night, off fingers off, and it was the other kid, the main kids from the thing, said, oh, can you come again tomorrow? So the next night and proved that I'd done it again, so I'd done the same things. I was battered after that for a couple of days. And then yeah, I just fell in love with it from there and just done it as a hobby outside of working, because obviously I had a young family. I used to work 5-6 days a week. And then yeah, that was it really, kind of went from there. When I worked in the old gym, the first time I was actually shitting myself, not gonna lie. You don't know what to expect, do you? It's like the unknown, it's like your first day at school, if that makes sense. Like for me when I start a new job, it's exactly the same. And I've never been someone who's worried about how people perceive me. I've always just tried to be myself, and if they like me, they like me. If they don't, they don't. I don't usually bend me to someone else, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I was nervous, and funny enough, they were really welcoming, like proper good bunch of guys, do you know what I mean? Like you'd think they'd be all big, hairy ass strongmen, which they were, but they weren't that bad. So yeah, we went in and just done some training, had a chat, and like got to learn a bit about me, a bit about them, and just became friends from there, really. Funny enough, Rob Frampton pulled me to one side of the competition and said, I think you got some potential, you need to start taking it a bit more seriously. So that's what I did. But like, I've had to do my whole career with a family, and now you notice people at the top level are having families, they're struggling, and I'm thinking it gives me a massive sense of self-worth to know that I've done it with them in tow. And like last one on Britain's Strongest Man, it was in front of 10,000 people and all my kids were there, and like to see their faces, my little boys like signing autographs with me and stuff, it was just magical. Do you know what I mean? I'd happily have retired on that note had I made it to like World's Strongest Man. Like if I got the Worlds the year after, I'd done that and I'd have been down to sport. But obviously for me, I was 2 places off. I finished 7th, not 5th. So for me, like I said, there's unfinished business. But yeah, they're good as gold. They all support me and that, and we muddle through. Like it's just the family. It takes a village, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Everything takes a village, and I got a good village. Fortunately, I got a good family, good support network, so it works. It is very much blurred lines, because obviously before, when I was on the rise to Britain's Strongest Man for a second time, I was very selfish and I prioritised training over certain things. I've gone to competitions and missed my kids' birthdays, but like I didn't not miss their birthday, we had it on a separate day, but I wasn't there for them opening their presents, you know what I mean? And that hurts, like stuff like that, and they're my priority, you know what I mean, kids. And it's good now because they come here, they train. My 6-year-old comes and trains. My 15-year-old daughter comes and trains. She got 105 deadlift at 15 years of age, you know what I mean? And watching her lift is beautiful sometimes, you know what I mean? Because she doesn't realize how strong she actually is. Strongman is a difficult industry to make a career of, yeah, because I think the world's changed outside of it, if that makes sense. So I think strongman became more popular 10 years ago, before like COVID. Obviously a lot of businesses don't want to sponsor people anymore. People don't want to help out and throw money around, so it is harder. But obviously 2022 was the last time I competed, but I was fortunate because I still had sponsorship from before. But now, like, I haven't approached anyone since, but I've obviously got a few sponsors in place that look after me for kit and equipment, you know what I mean? They're fantastic, I can't ask for no more. But I think we're living in a time now where people are hesitant to give stuff because they don't have much, and I think that's totally right for them as well, because you've got to look after your own ship before you can help someone else, you know? But to make a career out of it, like, it's hard. That's why I started coaching, because I wanted to get out of scaffolding, but then I just ended up doing coaching on top of scaffolding, on top of working, on top of everything else. And like, you're doing 100-hour weeks then and trying to train and trying to compete, it just don't all work out, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's a real hard thing to make a career out of unless you're very switched on or very fortunate to get a big sponsor that will just basically throw money at you, essentially. And with, like, for me, I'm a very, very stubborn, hard-headed person, and like, I'm very loving as well, and I love the sport and I love competing, and like being off with my fingers probably been the hardest 2 years of my life, do you know what I mean? And like, I've had a lot of stuff go wrong in the last couple of years, and I want to get back to where I was and go past that for myself, but just to prove to anyone that if hard times do come, you can beat it, do you know what I mean? And like, no one gets a fair shake anymore. Life's not easy, but you just got to try and work towards your goals, try and make whatever you can happen, and just go from there, do you know what I mean? Like, nothing's given to you, you've got to work for it. I want to get to World's Strongest Man at least once, yeah. That's my big aim, just to say I've been there, compete, and just go and see a bit more of the world, do you know what I mean? Like I said, I'm very fortunate. I've been to some places I never thought I'd been. I've been to Norway, -20 competing. Like, there's not many sports you're going to ever do that in, do you know what I mean? And yeah, I just want to achieve what I want to achieve. I want to get as good as I can, and then from there I'll be happy, do you know what I mean? And I want one last shot at it, because it's my kids' time as well, do you know what I mean? Like, they're all doing their own sports now. So like, my daughter does like strongwoman, my son plays rugby, my other son plays football, my other daughter does horse riding, do you know what I mean? They all do their own things, and I'm thinking, I got one more shot at this, and then it's their time in the sun, do you know what I mean? I'll happily walk away. I'll still coach people and train and stuff, but I won't compete no more. But yeah, it's time for them to shine as well. Personally, I'd like to say, do it. Just whatever you want to do it. As long as it's within reason. Like, live your life. Don't expect things to come to you. Love yourself as much as you love anyone else, because the world isn't always sunshine and rainbows. It's hard, and just try. As long as you're trying your best, it's good enough for me. That's it. I'm Ryan England, and I compete as a strongman.